We now know who's going to be headlining UFC 331. It's September in Los Angeles, and that's going to be for the flyweight title between Joshua Van and Alexandre Pantoja. The rematch from December when Pantoja snapped his elbow in front of us all in disgusting fashion after he fell. We're finally going to see it over 8 months later, or 9 months later, I should say. Amazing times. We are going to eat for that fight. Also on the card, co-main, another intriguing one. The return of Arman Tsarukyan. He's going to be facing not Charles Oliveira, as was leaked or reported for nearly about a week, it felt like. He's going to be facing Mauricio Ruffy, which is still a nice card. It's not going to be as juicy as a matchup, but still definitely one to be intriguing and see how it's going to play out. Heavyweight Gable Stevenson is also on the card. You also got Tai Tuivasa coming back, seeing if he can break his streak, though that's going to be hard against Robelis de Spania. That's going to be hard. That's going to be a hard-hitting one for him to get into. So overall, there's some intriguing matchups, ones to be fairly excited about. And let's get right into it. The lead of the show, the flyweight title, Pantoja Van. This one's going to feed families. This is the one that's been in the works, that's been needed to get done. The moment that fight got canceled, got ruined in the middle of it because Pantoja snapped his arm in front of us all, I couldn't see that when he fell. I literally had to close my eyes. I'm not big on seeing that gruesome, but you let me see someone get knocked out, like getting the lights put out, I definitely could watch that. But the arm snapping on his own, oh no. So this fight, man, what's there to say? This is This is going to be great. And it lets you know how great this matchup is because it's the main event. I can't recall the last time a main event on a numbered event for a UFC is brought to you by a flyweight fight. So for this one, it's a huge get back for Pantoja. He kind of feels a little slighted that Van has kind of been, I don't know, not humble in the way he won, even though Van's saying like, "Hey, I caused that fall." And whatever way you sit on it, we're finally gonna hash it out. We're gonna see what happened because while Van's the champion and he has the win in the record book, in the stat lines, in the stat sheet, we all know that it was a wash. It was essentially a no decision to us watching. So now we get to see Joshua Van. Were you going to beat Pantoja that night? Are you that guy? Because he's definitely got to be a sharper knife to fight against Pantoja than he was going to be in December. Because fighting against Tatsuro Taira, who has grappling, who has ground game, who has that in his repertoire, and he did well against Van. Van did good also defending, and eventually became comfortable after some rounds. But that was a nice warm up. Because if Taira was able to do that, and he's pretty nice with it, Pantoja's going to be better because he's way more explosive and he's more intent on getting a finish, and really, he just knows what he's doing. He's more technical. He's savvy. He's smart. So thankfully for Van, he got that experience with Taira. Van should have the advantage in the stand-up against Pantoja, but Pantoja is also going to be better on the feet than Taira. So that was probably a great warm-up. You know how they do for boxers? They just did it right now with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Like, that was a good warm-up, a precursor to what Van's going to experience. So for his sake, this entire camp, he better be learning how to defend takedowns, learning how to get up, learning how to defend submissions. Because on the feet, there's not too much that should threaten him. There's not too much that's to threaten him. Pantoja is kind of slick with it. He might have a moment where it's like, okay, Van's going to be watch out. But Van should be able to work him for the most part. It's just watching for those takedowns when he is going to take that jab, take that power punch where Pantoja might get the counter on him. So whichever way this goes, it's kind of tough for me to tell. I'll get when the fight gets closer. I always release a prediction video to see who I'm going to be going for right now. And at this moment, I can't tell you. It's hard. It's a tough one, but I already know who the true winner is. I say this all the time. It's really going to be us. We're the true winner. So long as no one snaps our elbow again, because that was disgusting, and we were all robbed of what was going to be a magnificent fight. And as for the co-main, Arman Tsarukyan's back. Mauricio Ruffy will fight, what is it now, like over 3 months later after he last fought at the White House against Michael Chandler. Completely outclassed Chandler, which was the most predictable outcome on the entire card. And now he gets a a fat step up in competition against Arman Tsarukyan, the #1 contender, who probably should be fighting Justin Gaethje for the title next. But because Tsarukyan is such a slappy, the UFC's like, you know what? Just fight again. We're going to make you earn it. And I don't blame them. They don't like him. I've said this over and over again on this channel. They don't like him. He's got to earn it. And he blew his chance with Islam Makhachev over a year and a half ago. But now it seems like, according to Ariel Helwani, that this is his chance. If Tsarukyan wins, he'll be a #1 contender. Which, the UFC is kind of fickle. I wouldn't necessarily hold their word to it. But I think this one might actually be genuine because they're running out of contenders. Because I think Charles Oliveira was originally the opponent. And it wasn't until his training partner unfortunately passed away at a young age that I could see why Charles Oliveira said, I can't think about this, man. Like, wait, I got to fight in just like a month and 5-6 weeks? No, I'm going to be distraught. I got funeral things to tend to. I got to get that's at least going to be a few weeks. So no way. So good on him. If that is the case, that's my theory. I think that's what happened for him to pull out a fight and just do what's best for himself and honor the memory of his good friend, his good training partner, because that's a rough one. So I don't blame him one bit. Charles Oliveira can easily always get back into the title picture, one fight into the top 3 for against a ranked opponent, 5, whatever. It's fine. But now there's an opportunity of a lifetime for Ruffy. The last fight, I don't know who's going to win between Van and Pantoja. I think this one's kind of obvious for us all. Tsarukyan should win and win fairly easily. I don't see how this is going to go past the second round. Maybe that'll change when I do my next video. Will lead up to that fight when it is actually the week of. But this is a big opportunity for Ruffy. Imagine if you beat Tsarukyan, put his lights out, because that's really going to be the only way you're going to get him. And even then, like, Tsarukyan has a tough chin. He's very slick. He's explosive. And he gets an underrated stand-up game as well. He uses it very well to bide his time when he can shoot for that takedown, get you on the ground, beat you up, or try to submit you. And that's where Ruffy's really weak at. And like, as much as like, he did beat down Michael Chandler, he didn't look super impressive. You thought he would have looked a little better. And maybe that's just because you knew he was the better man. It's like, I can do something flashy. I can be kind of lazy and lackadaisical. So maybe that is the case. But this one, in terms of excitement, I think it's still there because let's see what you got. Ruffy, maybe he surprises us. Or maybe it goes exactly how we expect, and then Tsarukyan puts his lights out or makes him tap or just wins in dominant fashion across all 3 rounds. But if you're Tsarukyan, you can't mess around. Stay off social media. Be about your business. Win this fight. Because there's 2 things that are going from this fight announcement in the lightweight, and that's probably the most intriguing part about the announcement for UFC 331 is since it isn't Charles Oliveira, since Arman Tsarukyan is not the next in line, Justin Gaethje, Gaethje's already said he's not fighting this year. So does this mean if Tsarukyan wins, he can turn around in 4 to 5 months and fight Gaethje in February, March? That's very plausible. Or Tsarukyan just get lapped, and Max Holloway is now off his quote-unquote win against Conor McGregor, that they give Gaethje his lick-back fight against Max Holloway after he was embarrassed on UFC 300. That's probably the likely scenario. I think it's a 75% chance that's the fight that they're going to make in February, March between Max and Gaethje, because that could potentially be Gaethje's last fight, win or lose. So, of course, you give him the last one. Hey, I got to fight a legendary fighter in Max. I potentially get my lick back. I can get another win, or I'm going to lose again, and then it's whatever. I got beat by a guy who's obviously one of the greatest of all times in UFC history. So, that's 2 ways they can play for it. But it'd be intriguing either way the UFC wants to go. And I think we're going to be in for a hell of a ride for this one. So, big opportunity for Ruffy. If he wins, is he the #1 contender? Probably. And then he fights Gaethje or Holloway next. If that is going to be the announced fight, I lean towards that being the case. If not, I could easily still see the UFC be like, okay, Tsarukyan, you're going to fight next in 4 months, turn around, because they're going to force him to do that, and Tsarukyan will happily oblige. So, again, other fights in the card. Gable Stevenson's fighting against a no-name. They're clearly trying to get him a few wins to stack up against some scrubs to give him some highlights and build some hype, which I'm not necessarily mad at it. I guess, like, he already I guess they just want to give some excitement to the heavyweight division by a guy like, hey, look, he's the guy with 3 in a row, knockout, first round, second round, whatever, and then you put him into the real big picture, and like it just really sells further, even though a lot of people already know him. But I guess it's just to make it for more of the casual market, because for a lot of us who are actually in tune to the UFC world, we know, like, just put him into a top 5 fight already. Like, it's not like the heavyweight has more than 2 to 3 good fighters anyways. So just put him in there. Like, stop. And overall, it's a pretty solid card. I think right now I put out a 7 out of 10. You know, maybe that's not high enough for some of you. Personally, my grading, I think 7's pretty high. We're not going by grades in high school and kid school, whatever. 7 out of 10 is pretty darn well. And I think we're going to be for a real treat in Los Angeles when it comes in September. So I'll make my predictions when it's a little closer to that week. Tell me what you guys think. Is that what do you think about the Pantoja Van fight? If you have any other predictions, and who do you think is going to be the real title contender for Justin Gaethje? Is Tsarukyan going to be next immediately after fights? And is he going to fight in February? Is Max versus Gaethje a thing? So a lot of interesting pathways to consider after these fight announcements for UFC 331. Let me know.